reported that Instagram's recommendation systems were actively connecting pedophiles to accounts that were advertising the sale of child sexual abuse material. In many cases, those accounts appeared to be run by underage children themselves, often using code words and emojis to advertise illicit material. In other cases, the accounts included indicia that the victim was being sex trafficked. Now, I know that Instagram has a team that works to prevent the abuse and exploitation of children online. But what was particularly concerning about the Wall Street Journal expose was the degree to which Instagram's own algorithm was promoting the discoverability of victims for pedophiles seeking child abuse material. In other words, this material wasn't just living on the dark corners of Instagram. Instagram was helping pedophiles find it by promoting graphic hashtags, including hashtag pedwhore and hashtag preteen sex, to potential buyers. Instagram also displayed the following warning screen.
Oh, wow. Okay. First of all, you just heard some of this disgusting thing going on Instagram, where recommended Instagram profile that have options of purchasing some kind of child abuse things or child porn is promoted by Instagram, and there's like hashtags like you heard, like pedo whore or underage, or the underage, like preteen sex, or some nastiness, some disgusting things. And this is like the algorithm connects these pedophiles to people, to this pedophile to this, content. It's nasty. Now, I just want to say, first of all, as a target individual, reality is no longer reality. They are recreating a false reality onto us. And who is they? Obviously, we are test subjects for the government, for the Department of Defense. They manipulate our brain in the most disturbing ways. But not only our brain, everything around us is manipulated. A lot of the things that our ecosystem is mostly manipulations. Nothing comes organically, nothing comes naturally, everything is done to us. Now, you just heard these horrible things, right? About what's happening in this world with Instagram. As a target individual, some of the manipulations they have applied has been so disgusting. It's been pedophilia-centric. There is a validation that they do this thing consistently. But on top of that, the entities running this program, the governmental entities that run this program, have had issues that I'm sure if they investigated who is these people that are going through these hashtags, pedo whore or whatever, there's a strong possibility, based on previous discoveries, that the same DoD entities doing these things to us perhaps have the same DoD employees participating, involving themselves in these pedophilia issues that you see on Instagram. The reason why I said that is because I've been bringing up something that's disturbing, but the reality. We know that the DoD network has been known and have had issues with pedophilia, with child porn being trafficked, so much so that the Child Protective Service ranked the DoD network as 19th out of all the network in the United States for trafficking child porn. 19th in the United States out of 3,000 almost 3,000. It's 2,891, so 2,900. That shows that there's a lot of child pornography traffic, a lot, using Department of Defense network. Some of the most surveilled computer networks are used to traffic child porn. Now, this is a reality that shows that there is a tendency, there's a trend that's ongoing there. This kind of ranking is not a ranking to just minimize, it's a ranking to be very, very scared about. Very scared about. It's reality. So to think that these people working in this government entity who have no problem using this DoD network to download child porn, most probably there's probably some DoD individual looking for this kind of nastiness that you just heard. Now, this is a reality that these people that do these things to you want you to forget, because what's happening today is they force you to have this disgusting reaction toward children, right? And they want you to believe that you are a pedophile and they are protecting children, right? They change reality around. They're nasty bottom feeders. And they sold their soul to pedophiles. That's why they're able to do what they're doing to you. They are truly a threat to children for many reasons. With me, they've been altering everything I see. Listen, now on Instagram, I have some random reels. It's not even on Instagram, even on YouTube, of like kids. Now, they're not always sexual. Most of them are not. It's just very. Sometimes it's just. Most of the time, it's just wholesome, content. But because what's happening today is I'm being manipulated to give reaction toward children that I don't even want to look at a child, even if it's some wholesome content, because I'm going to be forced to get disgusting reaction. They have the ability to manipulate the mind in ways that are disgusting. So per se is not sexual acts or anything like that. It's just regular, normal, wholesome things with children most of the time, which now for me turns into something disturbing in my head, because this is how they can manipulate the brain, and they use that to push people into insanity. So that happens a lot just because of that, meaning that they like, for example, my YouTube, there'll be wholesome videos of like children or whatever, and my brain will be forced to experience a disgusting reaction. Now, but on my Instagram, it's been a little different, and I've made videos about that specific. Even on my YouTube, like there've been short videos or like reels where I have to like just like remove them, because it's not, these kids like dancing. For example, there's a time period where there was like a bunch of like little Indian girls dancing. Just I was like, what the hell? Why the F would an Indian, like, why would I have that coming up on my like Instagram reel? Like, why would that be recommended to me? It's because they control these things. They control everything I have access to. And I've made a video a long time about, they're hacking my social my social profiles, my like Instagram, those Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, whatever. And I was saying that is because out of nowhere I'm getting like this disgusting recommendation, and so of course I won't be surprised if they are creating an algorithm that present me this. Well, listen, it's not sexual in the sense that there's any sexual act, but sometimes there's like very young people doing dancing in a sexual way, or just gonna try to show themselves in a sexual way. It's not like actual sexual acts or anything like that, right? And I made videos about it, and I was literally saying they're hacking my computers. They're hacking my social profile to have this kind of content, even though it's not like child porn, it's not child abuse thing, it's just kids just dance. Not even kids, some of them do. I think the most crazy one was this like if a like 14-year-old kid dancing in I mean, she was very awkward, didn't know how to dance, but trying to dance, I mean, that kind of weird stuff. Or this kid that just dancing very wholesome, some Indian, but the way they would make me look at her would be some nasty sexual way, some weird content. It's like, why is this showing up? It's because they control my Instagram, my YouTube, everything. I mean, they make sure that I see what they want me to see, and what they want me to see is something that is going to include the child, because they can manipulate my brain in these disgusting ways. Now, so what they try to do to counter what you're just going to hear, you're going to hear how the Department of Defense is so pedophilia centric that they had to pass a bill to try to limit the amount of child porn they're downloading to or using their DoD devices. This is how bad it is. To counter that, they are trying to make me, and this is how they can project reality onto you, a false reality. You just heard this, right? Pedophiles going on Instagram to fund profile to buy some nasty pedophilia stuff, and there's like hashtag like pedo horror and this nastiness, where this is like a way for them to know if they can get stuff, right? They are trying to make me identify that this is you. You see, that's what you want. They're recommending this to you because you're a pedo. It's like trash. You are putting these nasty things onto my reels. They purposely do that. That's why I made videos about that. The truth is, my organic recommendations are mostly, and I'm not perfect, I gotta say that. There's gonna be some Instagram models. There's gonna be some fitness models. It's gonna be that. And, I do like people who know how to dance, like actual, like choreographer, so that would be like this wholesome stuff I watch where they see them dancing in sync and synchronizing, and like dancing to African music or stuff like that. But this is because I like dancing videos. I like to see people dance, especially if they know, mostly if they know how to dance well. But usually it's like Instagram models of some sort, some fitness models of some sort. This is really the recommendation. I see, I'm not perfect. I know who I am, but I'm not perfect. But now they've been changing. Now they make me they have these reels of like kids who don't look like kids immediately, that you have to look it up and find out that they barely adult or just about to be adult, like this kind of things. That's the things they do, where it's just are they still the high schoolers, but that's the kind of things they do. But it will take you a second or so to figure that out, and I made videos about it because I know that's the things they do to me. That's the manipulations of my Instagrams they do. It's how they manipulate me. And so you heard this nastiness of reality and them trying to project this false reality, because like I said, projecting reality for sure. These people are working for governmental entities that are ranked so much in regard of child porn trafficking. They are top tier. This is some of the most surveilled network in the world being used to download child porn. Reality. Now, these people are supposed to create a false personality. That's what they not want you to project to this false reality. They use this weird psyops. I'm supposed to be like, you see how progressive they look. You see how feminine, trash ass, bottom feels. They look so much like a facade, a psyop, working for pedophiles. They can't even say the name of a man that picked up kids as young as 14 years old. In every ways, you see them for what they are. And now they tell me, we feel bad because we're going to plant child porn. I wouldn't be surprised if they let's just say, if they can access everything, your computers, your brain, they can manipulate your brain. Of course, they can easily go onto my Instagram and trigger this disgusting recommendation. I know they can do that. They have access of everything I have. They can frame me in every ways. And I've been talking about it for a while. They can be going on Instagram, being the one going to this hashtag under my name to frame me in that way. But it's coming from people who frame you who are so pedophilia-centric that the government, this child protective services, rank them for being top-tier child pornography trafficking. They're a nasty lowlife. I'd rather die in hell. I'd rather get tortured. I'd rather get burned. I'd rather be screaming. I'd rather be pissed on, shitted on, whatever, than having to live life the way these trash live. They're still trying to maintain some sense of fierceness, meaning they want to present themselves as we were just radical. It's like, no, you're a bunch of low-life bottom feeders working for pedophiles. Nothing daring about you. The only what makes you daring is daring to stoop to a level of no return in this cowardly way. And they're like, no, we feel bad. No. You know what? I want to trade places with you. I want to be the one doing what you do. And then whisper, girls. They're nasty low life. Right before I made this video, they were trying to do this thing, because I put things in perspective. I'm bringing up the fact that not only these people are working for governmental entities, right, that have problem with pedophilia, so much so that Child Protective Services is ranking them as top tier trafficking of child porn. While these people are telling me how they're going to frame me in these disgusting pedophilia ways. But I also know what they've done to children, right? I know the sexual torture applied onto children, to little girls, to little boys. I've heard the testimonials. You yourself can hear those testimonials too. Matter of fact, they are so much of a threat to children that not too long ago, a poor child got killed because a target individual lost his mind because of the same tactics, of the same false persona they tried to implant into people. Lost his mind, killed 18. A child died, and other child got injured, shot in the leg. The bullet just grazed her. But that's how nasty they are. And so they were like, before I make this video, they're like, no, but use her hand. What they try to refer to is when I was in middle school, they try to exaggerate what I did as a middle school child while involved in a program where they do these horrible things to babies. Infant, 3-week-old. And for adults, they manipulate us 24/7, conditioning the brain to think about children in a sexual way. They are foul, human, low life, and very much coward. I mean, you cannot be this foul and this cowardly at the same time. This is too much. It's too much to have this level of cowardness and this low-lifeness at the same time. Have at least one and leave the other. Be a coward, but don't be a low-life. Be a low-life, but don't be a coward. These people are everything you can imagine in one. And then they'll die. In every way, you've been validated to see them for the trash that they are. The way they abuse us, not even, because the way they torture children. The way they involve in a program that torture children themselves. And they're involved in a program where children are being tortured in ways that are so disgusting. Harm in ways that you can't even understand. With me, that's what I see them as. And then working for governmental entities where they truly have a problem with pedophilia, downloading child abuse images or videos by the thousands, so much that the Child Protective Services, the watchdog of the internet, is ranking them as top tier in regard of trafficking child porn. This is the entity running this program. This trash are involved in a program where they even harm children in ways that are sexual. And you know how they try to block it out, how to cut it, try to talk about me as a child. It's abuse. Try to exaggerate a middle schooler doing some stupid thing in 8th grade. They are fucking the bottom of the low-lifeness ever. I don't know if it's a word. They are. It's things that in life you stoop to a level where there is no return. On top of that, the cowardness is magical. But they're still trying to be like radical about it. Try to use it. That's yes. Trash you involved in the program that torture babies. They are so disgusting. And now, creating these false personas, forcing men and women to get stimulations, thoughts. In your dreams, they force you to have sexual dreams about kids, or condition your brain. They eat and live this disgusting life before they die. I don't want to trade places with them. They tell me I'm going to be a drag, I'm going to be raped, I'm going to be tortured. Like, I'll take these horrible things over and over, then live the life that you live. Some trash, low-life cowards, fragile shit. Talk about how they feel bad. It's like, don't feel bad. Just live that life as long as you can. And see all the blessings.
Ms. Catherine Nestor.
My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MK Ultra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutmann to begin today. There is new work for the Commission for Human Subject Protection on our shores. And please give us a dramatic response, Susan. And please give us a congressional hearing.
I am currently a speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic, and they used her to threaten the most torture in me as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions and had been making incredible progress on all of her therapy goals. This was used to threaten extreme torture on me, making me scream and cry, etc. They would make the kids act out the kinds of torture that would later be done on me. For example, they would also sometimes make her bite her hand, threatening to make me bite my hands, as they often do. One day, she had a large, severe bite mark on her arm. She has also grabbed her crotch, saying, "Ow," and this was used to threaten me with severe sexual torture. One day, I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. And I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "Ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. Then he made a frightening grimace of severe pain. I asked him what was wrong and if he needed to use the restroom, but he said no to having to use the restroom and was not able to verbalize anything more due to his language delay. He looked puzzled and bewildered. Even though I had stated that it was time to do more work right before this incident, I quickly just let him play another game, and he quickly returned to his joyful, happy self again.
Affiliate material called Project Flicker. Some 5,000 individuals have been identified as having subscriptions to child porn sites, including many DoD affiliated persons. So this ongoing national investigation has now prompted the House to introduce a bipartisan bill that would help the DoD stop the use of its network to, quote, possess, procure, or produce child pornography. Joining us to discuss this, investigative journalist Ben Swann. So Ben, the Pentagon already takes measures to limit worker access to stuff like porn by rolling out what they call the Personal Electronic Device PED policy. where workers have to drop off their phones and lockers before entering their offices. All their online searches are accessible by security if or when needed. Their Wi-Fi access is monitored in digital security sweeps. So how is this happening?
Well, it's happening because even though there is a certain amount of limitation on access, those who are working in the Department of Defense, clearly it appears to be thousands of individuals in the Department of Defense, are finding ways around this, specifically by using the Department of Defense IP addresses and also apparently peer-to-peer sharing within the department's network. So this study that was done on this issue, and it is pretty horrifying, Manila, to consider this. It shows that the Department of Defense ranked 19th out of almost 3,000 networks in terms of peer-to-peer sharing of child pornography. That is absolutely incredible. This bill attempts to essentially say, look, we're not doing enough to stop it from coming in, but we're also not doing enough in the Department of Defense to go after those individuals who are being recognized as the ones who are perpetrating this.
So Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger is the co-author to this bill. She said this, quote, "The notion that the Department of Defense's network and Pentagon-issued computers may be used to view, create, or circulate such horrifying images is a shameful disgrace and one we must fight head-on." Now, the fact that the Pentagon workers, be they civil or military or otherwise, already submit to a gauntlet of daily scrutiny just going in and out of work, is it fair then to the tens of thousands who are completely innocent to further allow that much more government intrusion into their digital devices or the things that they're dealing with on their computers?
Well, remember that what's being talked about here is not an intrusion into someone's personal device or even their home. This is about saying Department of Defense computers are being misused to share, to spread, to access child pornography. And when you step into an office, whether it's a Department of Defense office or it's the offices at RT America, wherever you go into an office, you do not have the right to simply use the technology within that office space however you want, and you certainly don't have the right to use it in a criminal manner. So essentially this bill is trying to do, again, two things. It's trying to limit that and crack down on the misuse of those computer systems, but it also is going after those individuals. One of the things that this bill attempts to do, and there's a Senate version of it put together by Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski from Alaska, but essentially what these two bills are trying to do is say, look, the Department of Defense does not have an adequate way of responding to this, of tracking down and investigating who as an individual is misusing these computers, who is sharing these pornographic images of children, who is sending them to whom. And so one of the things it does is the bill actually opens up civilian law enforcement to come in and to work with the Pentagon and with the DOD to actually investigate and to track down who is misusing, again, these computers for this purpose. So the bill, it's about more than just stopping it. It's about going after those who have been perpetrating it, who so far aren't being gone after.
Now, Ben, you and I, obviously, we're both parents here, and this is something that is terrifying, I think, to anybody that is a parent. What about the bigger... Infuriating. I mean, it's disgusting and maddening. The bigger picture here, Ben, how do we, the people, crack down on this? It's a disgusting crime. How is this continuing to proliferate in a day where they can track your every movement and what you do?
Well, because clearly in this case, these are the people who are helping to do the tracking. I know NSA and a lot of these civilian
following the handbook perfectly.
2-year-old and a 6-year-old. He was simply fired. One employee purchased sexually explicit videos of young girls filmed by their mothers. He resigned. One employee estimated that he had viewed up to 1,400 sexually abusive images of children while on agency assignments. Not sure what actions, if any, were taken by him. One contractor arranged for sex with an undercover FBI agent. I think that you mentioned that. Posing as a child, he had his contract revoked. One CIA staffer was charged with child sexual crimes, and the employee was also under investigation for mishandling classified material. but sexual crimes involving children, says BuzzFeed, including the viewing of images of abuse, have been uncovered at other agencies that handle sensitive information. In a November 2009 report, the Department of Defense acknowledged that dozens of Pentagon staff members or contractors had such images. In 2014, the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community found that 2 officials from the National Reconnaissance Office, which oversees America's spy satellites, acknowledged viewing images of child sexual abuse during polygraph examinations. This is so disturbing. At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable. Is this something that is happening in the general population? Evil?
Allie, we're told, and when I was put through recruitment into the intel community, you're put through polygraphs, you're put through a rigorous selection process. Why aren't these people weeded out? Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, hey, can I get hired? Can I get a job? You're put through an extremely rigorous background check screening process. It's called an SSBI, single background investigation. There are people, they interview you, they interview your family, they interview your contacts, they go through your online footprint, they go through everything. So why is it that when they're going through these footprints, they're not checking, these digital footprints, they're not checking for so many pedophiles getting through their ranks? If it were up to me, you need to go into Congress, and Congress needs to launch a brand new church committee, number one, to talk about domestic surveillance operations, but number two, to ask the question, why are there so many pedophiles sitting behind
and helped pass key legislation in Congress, the End National Defense and Network Abuse Act. The provision, authored by Senator Brian Schatz, D. High, and co-sponsored by Senator Lisa Murkowski RAK, is included in the annual National Defense Authorization Act and is expected to be signed into law. The End Network Abuse Act would assist the Pentagon in stopping the Department of Defense's DoD illegal use of the government network to view, possess, trade, and even produce child pornography. Millions of child sexual abuse images are being shared across the internet. Over 45 million online photos and videos were reported to tech companies in 2018 alone. The use of child pornography is not limited to the DoD, but data from 2018 revealed the DoD's network ranked 19th out of 2,891 nationwide networks when it came to peer-to-peer trading of child pornography. Child sexual abuse images are flooding the internet and almost no one is fighting back. The DoD is unequipped to deal with the level of abuse coming from their own network devices. A 2006 report from Immigration and Customs Enforcement identified 5,200 Pentagon employees with suspected use of child pornography. Catching and prosecuting these individuals has not been an investigative priority for the military. As such, most of the military investigators are not properly trained or given the tools to apprehend offenders. As stated in Senator Schatz's press release, the End Network Abuse Act would upgrade the training and technical capacity of military criminal investigative organizations to confront the misuse of the DoD's computers, facilities, and equipment to access and trade child pornography. It would also require the DoD to enter into collaborative agreements with appropriate federal, state and local law enforcement entities, child protection organizations,
potentially making this. The Defense Department releasing brand new details into an investigation involving child pornography and dozens of its workers and contractors, some with top-level security clearance. Not only are these very serious accusations, but investigators say some of the people involved were handling the nation's most sensitive secrets, potentially making this a matter of national security. Chief Fox Report correspondent Jonathan Hunt with the news. appalling story, Jonathan. Do we know more about these people and their security clearances?
Well, we don't know their exact job titles, John, but what we do know is that they did appear to be working, some of them, at high levels across a range of government agencies. Take a look at this, for instance, the National Security Agency, the National Reconnaissance Office, and the very secretive Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. Others also worked on actual military
Bipartisan bill aims to stop child pornography trafficking on Defense Department's network. Dem Rep-elect. I won't vote for Pelosi. We need new leadership. Washington CNN. A bipartisan group of lawmakers on Tuesday introduced A bipartisan group of lawmakers on Tuesday. A bipartisan group of lawmakers on Tuesday introduced a bill that would crack down on the use of the Department of Defense Internet Network for trafficking child pornography. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement identified over 5,000 individuals, several of whom are affiliated with the Defense Department, who subscribe to child pornography websites in an investigation called Project Flicker. A subsequent inquiry by the Defense Criminal Investigative Service tagged hundreds of Defense Department affiliates as suspects in child pornography cases. According to a news release, the bill, introduced by Rep. Abigail Spanberger, a Virginia Democrat, and Rep. Mark Meadows, a North Carolina Republican, would help the Defense Department stamp out use of its computers and network to access and share child pornography. The legislation would bolster training, improve technical capacities, and require collaboration with both law enforcement and social service providers. Spanberger, a former federal agent who worked on child exploitation and child pornography cases, called the abuse and exploitation of children through pornography horrific crimes. The notion that the Department of Defense's network and Pentagon-issued computers may be used to view, create, or circulate such horrifying images is a shameful disgrace, and one we must fight head-on, Spanberger said in a statement. According to child pornography watchdog Internet Crimes Against Children Child Online Protective Services, the Defense Department network consistently ranks in the top tier of Internet service providers for trafficking child pornography. It ranked 19th of nearly 3,000 networks surveyed in 2018. Meadows said,